Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Fatma Slim, and today is lecture 33, which is chemical composition of nucleic acids. Key concepts for today's lectures are nucleic acids. We are going to study about the classes of nucleic acids, which are DNA and RNA, and the components of DNA and RNA are will be discussed in this lecture, which are nucleotides, bases, phosphate group, 5 carbon sugar. So basically, bases, phosphate group, and 5 carbon sugars make nucleotides, which is a monomeric unit of the nucleic acid polymers. Nucleic acids is very important constitution of cell because it store information about the cell, and it is present in the nucleus of the cell in the form of DNA or RNA. And actually the DNA is a form of or nucleic acid which store the information regarding to the cell, and this information is about what kind of the cell, how it will grow, what function it will perform, and how it will passes the same characteristics to the next. These informations are stored in the DNA molecules. They are also called macromolecules because they are large. Macromolecules are large molecules composed of thousands of covalently connected atoms, and macromolecules other than the nucleic acids are carbohydrates, lipids, protein. And macromolecules are formed by many monomers linking together forming a polymer. And here in the case of DNA, we can say that a monomer is like nucleotides, and they join together to form polynucleotide chain of DNA or nucleic acids, which nucleic acids are the main information carrying molecule. There are two main classes of nucleic acids. These two are the deoxyribonucleic acid, which is abbreviated as DNA, and ribonucleic acid, which is abbreviated as RNA. So you can see from the slide that DNA is double stranded molecule and RNA is single stranded molecule. We will discuss about them in the next slides. So a DNA or deoxyribonucleic acid is the hereditary material in human and almost all other organisms. Nearly every cell in a person's body has the same DNA. Most DNA is located in the cell nucleus where it is called nuclear DNA, but a small amount of DNA can also be found in the mitochondria where it is called mitochondrial DNA. Mitochondria are the structures within the cell that converts the energy from food into a form that cells can use. So DNA is present in every cell of person's body, every cell in any species, from multicellular to a single celled bacteria. In viruses, it is found in the nucleus of eukaryotes, and it is in eukaryotes we all know that it is included in a membrane, which and termed as the nucleus. And in the prokaryotes, the DNA is not enclosed in the membrane in membranous envelope, but rather free floating within the cytoplasm like other organelles are present. the The entire genetic content of a cell is known as genome, and the study of genomes is known as genomics. A genome is an organism's complete set of DNA, including all of its genes. Each genome contains all of the information needed to build and maintain that organism. In humans, a copy of the entire genome, more than 3 billion DNA base pairs, and is contained in all cells that have a nucleus. So genomes are present in every cell because every cell content or content of the nucleus is known as genome. Genome contain chromosomes, and chromosomes are made up of chromatin. Chromatin is further made up of DNA molecule. The DNA double strand form a complex with histone protein, and these all is present in the eukaryotic chromosomes. In prokaryotes, there is no chromosomic structures. The DNA strand is just present in the form of like DNA molecule present in a cell like other organelles, and there is no membranous envelope around the DNA material in the prokaryotic cells. Chromosomes may contain 10 of thousands of genes. So different species of animals have different number of chromosomes, and different number of chromosomes in the different species contain up to thousands, 10 thousands of genes on them. Many genes contain the information to make protein products. Other genes code for RNA products. DNA controls all of the cellular activities by turning the genes on or off. Here we discuss about the ribonucleic acid, which is RNA. The types of ribonucleic acid is mostly it involve in the function of protein synthesis. But when in eukaryotic cells, DNA want to communicate with the cell, it never leaves the nucleus, but it transfer its message to the messenger RNA, which communicate with the rest of the cell. This intermediary is the messenger RNA. So other types of RNAs are like ribosomal RNA, transfer RNA, and micro RNA. About ribosomal RNA is a part of the ribosomes or protein builders of the cell. Ribosomes are called protein builders of the cell. So ribosomal RNA is present in the ribosomes. Ribosomes are responsible for the translation or the process our cells use to make protein. So it basically ribosomal RNA is responsible for the protein synthesis. Ribosomal RNA is responsible for reading the order of amino acids and linking amino acids together. They do this through a highly complex sequence. So next is the transfer RNA. Transfer RNA is basically a type of RNA that help to decode a messenger RNA sequence into proteins. Transfer RNAs function at a specific site in the ribosomes during translation, which is a process that synthesizes a protein from a messenger RNA. So you can see the structure of the transfer RNA. It is very small, and microRNA is a small non-coding RNA molecule found in the plants, animal, and some viruses that function in the post-transcriptional regulation of genes expression. MicroRNAs function via base pairing with complementary sequence within a messenger RNA molecules. Here from we start nucleotides. Nucleotides are basic units or monomers for nucleic acids. DNA and RNA are two types of nucleic acids. So DNA and RNA are made up of monomers known as nucleotides. The nucleotides combine with each other to form a polynucleotides chain, DNA or RNA. Each nucleotide is made up of three components. So basically, nucleotides are made up of three other components, which are nitrogenous bases, a pentose 5-carbon sugar, and a phosphate group. So each nitrogenous basis in a nucleotide is attached to a sugar molecule, which is attached to one or more phosphates group. So nucleotides are formed of these three components, which are attached to each other and form a nucleotide. Then nucleotides join together to form a polynucleotide chain. which in turn form DNA or RNA molecules. First of all, we are going to discuss over here our nitrogenous bases. The nitrogenous bases are organic molecules and are so named because they contain carbon and nitrogen. They are bases because they contain an amino group that has the potential of binding an extra hydrogen and thus decreasing the hydrogen ion concentration in its environment, making it more basic. Nitrogenous bases are categorized into two different types, which we will discuss in the upcoming slides. Here we can see that four types of nitrogenous bases are adenine, guanine, cytosine and thymine. These are present in the DNA and they form different nucleotides. So first of all, we are discussing over here is pyrimidine. Pyrimidine is a heterocyclic aromatic organic compound similar to benzene and pyridine, containing two nitrogen atoms at position 1 and 3 of the 6-member ring. It is isomeric with two other forms of diazine. Cytosine, thymine and uracils are classified as a pyrimidine, which have a single carbon nitrogen ring as their primary structure. So you can see in the picture that a ring containing 6 members, from which 4 are carbon and 2 are nitrogen. And cytosine, thymine and uracils have this as a single nitrogen carbon ring as a primary structure, and different functional group will be attached with them to differentiate between cytosine, thymine and uracil. Nitrogenous bases, the second class we are going to discuss about the purines. Purines are heterocyclic aromatic organic compounds that contain pyrimidine fused ring fused with an imidazole ring, and they are double or two purines consist of two carbon nitrogen rings, and adenine and guanine are classified as purines. These are this is the primary structure of purine ring. Purine rings, adenine and guanine. To differentiate between the adenine and guanine, some functional group or different functional groups are attached with these rings, which differentiated between the adenine and guanine. So this is the primary structure you can see in the slide, that contain one pyrimidine ring and one imidazole ring bridging together. Each of these basic carbon nitrogen rings has different functional group attached to it. In molecular biology shorthand, the nitrogenous bases are simply known by their symbols. We denoted them in the structures, and everywhere we write the name of these bases with the symbols capital A, T, G, C and U. DNA contain adenine, thymine, guanine and cytosine, whereas RNA contain adenine, uracil, guanine and cytosine. Thymine is not present in the RNA structures, and uracil is not present in the DNA structures. The pentose sugar is also a monosaccharide 5 carbon sugar, and it is present in DNA as a deoxyribose and in RNA as a ribose sugar. The difference between the sugar is the presence of the hydroxyl group on the second carbon of the ribose and hydrogen on the second carbon of the deoxyribose. So basically two different groups are functional groups are attached to the second carbon of the ribose sugar. For ribose sugar, it is a hydroxyl group attached to the second carbon, and for deoxyribose sugar, the hydrogen group is attached instead of hydroxyl group to the second carbon of the pentose sugar. So that's why this make the difference in overall the chemical composition of DNA and RNA. It differentiate them both due to the pentose sugar. They are differentiated due to the pentose sugar, and so the name is termed as deoxyribose for the DNA and ribose nucleic acid. Basically, after nitrogenous bases and five carbon sugar, the third component of a nucleotide is phosphate group, and attachment of phosphate group is very necessary to function as a nucleotide. Without an attached phosphate group, the sugar attached to one of the bases is known as a nucleoside. So we know that there are four type of bases or five type of bases present in the nature, and any of one attached with the sugar to form a nucleoside of that given base. And if one molecule of phosphate or multiple molecule of phosphates are attached to the nucleoside, it make it the nucleotide, complete nucleotide. So we can see here in the picture that without phosphate group attached, it is termed as nucleoside, and with phosphate attached, it is termed as nucleotide. The phosphate groups connect successive sugar residue by bridging the 5-hydroxyl group on the sugar to the 3-hydroxyl group of the next sugar in the chain. These nucleotides linkage are called phosphodiester bonds and are the same in RNA and DNA. So here you can see that there is a bridge between one nucleoside and another nucleoside, and phosphate group is a bridging between them. From one nucleotide it is attached to the 5 number carbon, and for the other nucleotide it is attached to the 3 number of carbon of the pentose sugar. So it form a bridge, and it is termed as phosphodiester bond. And it is same because the only difference between the RNA and DNA pentose sugar is at a point or at carbon 2 prime. So there is no difference between at the carbon number 3 and 5 in the DNA and RNA. The phosphate residue is attached to the hydroxyl group of the 5 prime carbon of one sugar and the hydroxyl group of the 3 prime carbon of the sugar of the next nucleotide, which form a 5 prime 3 prime phosphodiester linkage. A polynucleotide may have thousands of such a phosphodiester linkages. So it is attached to the 5 prime of one carbon and the 3 prime of the other carbon, and this linkage is called 5 prime 3 prime phosphodiester linkage. Simply by adding nucleotide we can make a polynucleotide chain, and it will be termed as a single strand of the DNA. Then two such strands become opposite to each other or anti-parallel to each other, and hydrogen bonding is formed in between the bases of different or bases between the bases of two different anti-parallel strands of the DNA molecule, and they form this base pairing is this hydrogen bonding is like staircase cases, and the two strands of the helix run in opposite direction. This antiparallel orientation is important to DNA replications and in many nucleic acid interactions. So it is very important because double helix shape allow for DNA replication and protein synthesis to occur. In these processes, the twisted DNA unwinds and open to allow a copy of the DNA to be made. As the new strands form, bases are paired together until two double helix DNA molecules are formed from a single double helix DNA molecule. So the bases are attached complementary to each other and form double helix. Only certain type of bases pairing are allowed. This means adenine pair with the thymine and guanine pair with the cytosine. This is known as the base complementary rule because the DNA strands are complementary to each other. If the sequence of the one strand is adenine, adenine, thymine, thymine, guanine, guanine, cytosine, cytosine, the complementary strand would have the sequence of opposite to each other. This is thymine, thymine, adenine, adenine, cytosine, cytosine, and guanine, guanine. So here you can see that cytosine with guanine have a 3 hydrogen bonds, and thymine and uracils pair with the thymine or uracils pair with the adenine and have a 2 hydrogen bonds. In double In biology, double helix is term used to describe the structure of DNA. A DNA is a double helix consists of two spiral chains of deoxyribonucleic acids. The shape is similar to that of a spiral staircase. DNA is a nucleic acid composed of nitrogenous bases including adenine, cytosine, guanine, and thymine, a 5-carbon sugar, deoxyribose sugar, which is, and a phosphate molecule. The nucleotide bases of DNA represent the stair steps of the staircase, and the deoxyribose and phosphate molecules form the side of the staircases. So, why is the DNA twisted? DNA is coiled into chromosomes and tightly packed in the nucleus of our cells. The twisting aspects of DNA is a result of interaction between the molecules that make up DNA and water. The nitrogenous bases that comprise the steps of the twisted staircase are held together by hydrogen bonds. Adenine is bonded with the thymine and guanine pair with the cytosines. These nitrogenous bases the sugar phosphate backbone is an important structural component of the DNA. These sugars are linked together by a phosphodiester bond, and the sugar phosphate backbone has a negative charge that allows DNA to easily dissolve in water and is also used by the proteins that bind the DNA. So why there is a negative charge on the backbone, sugar phosphate backbone? The phosphate backbone of DNA is negatively charged due to bond created between the phosphorus atom and the oxygen atoms. So the sugar and phosphate molecules that form the sugar phosphate backbone of the molecules are hydrophilic in nature, which means they are water loving and have an affinity for water. DNA is arranged such that the phosphate and sugar backbone are on the outside and in contact with the fluid, while the nitrogenous bases are in the inner portion of the molecule. So we can say that why DNA twist because the water loving portion is want to stay outside, and base pairs that is not water loving are want to remain the inside and out of the reach of the fluid of a cell or nucleus. That's why they arrange so. In order to further prevent the nitrogenous bases from the coming into contact with cell fluid, um, the molecule twists to reduce the space between the nitrogenous bases and the phosphate and sugar strands. So this is the reason the molecule. The fact that the two DNA strands that form the double helix are antiparallel help to twist the molecule as well. So antiparallel means that the DNA strands run in opposite direction, ensuring that the strands fit tightly together. This reduces the potential for fluid to seep between the bases. So they are mm, tightly packed because they want to avoid the fluid of the cell, and the sugar and phosphate groups make backbone which have interaction with the fluids of the cell. At the end, type of we are going to discuss about the type of chemicals bond that is present in a DNA double helix, and it has two types of bonds. One is covalent and other is hydrogen. Covalent bonds exist within each linear strand and strongly bond bases, sugars and phosphates groups both within each component and between the components. So these are present, these all are covalently bonded to each other in a single strand. Hydrogen bonds exist between the two strands and form a between base from one strand and a base from the second strand in the complementary pairing. These hydrogen bonds are individually weak but collectively quite strong, and that make the DNA double helix structure more strong. A student have to search about the different types of RNA and differentiate them with the reference of their functions performed in a cell. I have briefly discussed the type in the given slide in this lecture, but you have to discuss and you have to explore and differentiate between their different functions performed in the cell.